Have you ever wondered how people become successful? Have you ever wondered why Kylie Jenner and how Kylie Jenner became a billionaire at such a young age? You might know or have an inkling because Kris Jenner was her mom and her family, and the access and the opportunity that she had that was unique to her and her experience. And you're right. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not Kylie Jenner. I don't have that access. Kris Jenner's not my mom. And that's okay. What I want to share with you is that Kylie used her unfair advantage. The unfair advantage, this book talks about how successful people find and use and exploit their unfair advantages. That's what helps them to be successful. And so money is a part of it. Actually, not having a lot of money can be an unfair advantage too, which I will explain. But my YouTube coach, Ali Abdal, who has over 6 million YouTube subscribers, talks about his unfair advantage and how he had great production from the start as a student. He also got into a really, really good medical school, Cambridge, and he was becoming a doctor. And so he made videos specifically on how to become a doctor, how to get into medical school, and that was his unfair advantage. There's also Nisha, a super popular YouTuber who talks about money and finance, and she was a banker, an investment banker that had an accountancy qualification, and she made videos, Accountant Explains. And so that was her unfair advantage because she had this skill. And so those are just a few parts of the whole Miles framework, which we're going to learn. There's a whole framework so that you can find your unfair advantage. There's a ton of different ways to find it. Let's go ahead and explore and find yours. The authors of this book share that life is inherently unfair. Okay? You know how when we're kids, we're like, life's unfair and wah, it's unfair. Grr, I'm angry. It is. So let's acknowledge that. But then let's use those advantages. So we need to find what is the advantage because it is unfair. What can I do to get a leg up and to rise higher? All right, so first we have the Miles framework. M-I-L-E-S. So this is our acronym, and each letter stands for a different part of the framework that could be one of your unfair advantages. All right, so we first have the M, which stands for money. Okay? We'll talk more about this, but remember, you can either have a lot of it or you can't, and you don't, and that's okay. That's actually part of the unfair advantage. Another, I, we have intelligence or smarts and insights. So maybe you have a certain IQ, maybe you know a lot about something, maybe you have an insight into a situation based on an experience you've been through. L, we have location. That's an interesting one. Where do you live? Where are you? What circumstance are you in? And also luck can be one. Then we have E, which is education. A little bit different than our intelligence and insights, and expertise. Do you have a certain expertise or education in something? And then lastly, we have status, okay? And so we're gonna talk about each part of this framework so that you can know exactly where your unfair advantage lies. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the first unfair advantage, and I'm going to make that money. Okay, so our first unfair advantage is money. How can it be an unfair advantage? So if you do have money, let's start from yes, I have a little bit of money or a lot. So how much, right? Like how much do you have? Are you like a Kylie Jenner? Are you someone with very, very wealthy parents? Okay. Do you have parents who are doctors or lawyers or something or entrepreneurs and so they have more money? Or also, do you not even come from money, but maybe you've invested or saved your own, right? And so if you have the money, you can use it, whether it's your parents or whether it's you yourself. Now with money, okay, why is this helpful? Okay, you might have access to opportunity, but you can also, for YouTube, I'll use that as an example. If I'm starting a YouTube channel, okay, and then I know I need a camera, but it costs $5,000. Now, do I need Kylie Jenner's type of money to do that? Not necessarily, but I can invest in the gear. I had money, for example, so I can invest. Or coach. Ali Abdal's program was $6,000, but I got personalized experience from his team. It was a lot of money, but it was worth it, and I can invest that money. Same thing with other gear. So you can invest the money in coaches, gear. You could also outsource editing. I have not done that yet, but a lot of people do that. You could do that for fairly cheaply, depending on where, or more expensively, like $1,000, but you have the money. So that's how it can be an advantage, because it can get you a leg up versus someone just recording videos off their iPhone in their dark room like I did at the beginning. Now, what about no money? Which I know a lot of people are there, or low money, or low. Okay, the biggest advantage is that there's nothing to lose. A lot of people who have maybe millions of dollars or whatever, they have so much money. Or if I worked really hard, I'd saved $20,000 by the time I was 18. I don't want to lose that money. I know as a rich person, you need to invest in yourself, okay? Invest in yourself to make money. But what if I lose that $20,000? Bye. So sad, right? And so at least if you have nothing, if you have zero, the worst you can get is back to zero. So it enables you and empowers you. It's empowering to take maybe some more risk and to try. The second part, which I'm losing a little bit of space, but I'm just going off the top of my head, is the underdog. Okay, you're an underdog. And so like Alex Hormozy talks about this, where they can say, Alex is just trying to be a billionaire. He's trying to be a billionaire. He doesn't care, right? You could use it as like, I just am genuine. I care. It makes you seem maybe a little bit more genuine, or the underdog, and maybe people are cheering for you. Maybe they feel sorry for you. And so that'll help you to grow your riches or achieve whatever goal you're trying to. So money can be an unfair advantage. Decide where you want to invest. And even if you don't have to have millions of dollars, like I didn't have millions, but I can invest the money I do have. All right, the next unfair advantage we're going to talk about is intelligence. Okay? How smart are you? Okay? So, smarts. Yes, we can just start with the IQ. Okay, I am a teacher. Remember, IQ is important, but there's also a ton of different types of intelligences. So if we have a strong IQ, you might have a low EQ, which is about like the social side, and maybe some of your soft skills aren't as good. Okay, so that can be a disadvantage. And so maybe you actually don't have the highest IQ. You maybe have an average IQ, which is fine. That's good. You can still learn and grow and get better. Growth mindset. But then you are really strong in this area, like really, really, really strong. You can use that intelligence. Maybe you have a good people intelligence. I know I've learned a ton about people, a ton about myself. And so I would say that is something that I really feel strongly about, and that I feel called to, and that I know about. So you can use those people smarts, those social skills, the soft skills of interacting with people, etc. Now, if you do have that really, really high IQ, this could help you in a certain area. Maybe it'll help you with a certain field if you're into science or math, or it can help you to maybe get a better career, etc. So there are definitely benefits of having this IQ, a high one. why having a higher intelligence might be helpful. It'll help you to make better decisions, okay? Your life is made by your habits and choices. So if you can have better habits, you're smart enough to know the right habits, you're smart enough to have the discipline, the choices that you make, okay, that's going to make a difference. Think also really high IQ like Elon Musk, what he's been able to create and do and tolerate, that has been an advantage for him. Remember, it can be multiple types of intelligences. There's the theory of multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. Let me actually show that really quick. Guys, books are powerful. I'm talking about a book and bringing in another book, but Howard Gardner, this is the book Frames of Mind, and there's the idea of multiple intelligences. And so you can see in some of these chapters, probably, let's see, it shows that there's like the logical mathematical intelligence, spatial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, like crazy athletes like Kobe Bryant, personal intelligences, etc. And then there's actually a few more here. Let me pull it over. Linguistic intelligence, musical intelligence. You might not fully be able to see it, but there's a lot of different ones. And then like the street smarts, it talks a lot about that in the book, street smarts. Okay, remember, we might not have it. Like Jesse Itzler, I talk about him, the husband of Sarah Blakely, billionaire founder of Spanx. Sorry, I got his name wrong there. But Jesse Itzler, he used a lot of street smarts and creativity is a big part of intelligence as well. So creativity can actually be a big part of intelligence. And so a lot of parents, and I know as a teacher and as a parent myself, we're like, all right, we need to teach the ABCs and they need to know their math and they need to know all of these things. But actually just free play and letting kids be creative and use their creative mind. So any type of intelligence, if you've been told you have street smarts, if you've been told you have a decent IQ, or you know you do, if you have a strong emotional intelligence or people skills, or maybe you do have that bodily intelligence or something of that nature, you really need to use that to go ahead and thrive. Now, I'm going to show another part of the I framework, which is insights that can really help you too. Okay. Some of these words or the acronyms have two words. So we have insights, okay? So insights, this can be from an experience that you've had. Okay, do you know what an insight is? It's like something that you can share based on your experience. So from an experience that you've had, you can share, like if I'm a mom, I can share insights on pregnancy, on the newborn phase. I can share about ups and downs. I can share my experiences and insights, or what toys were good and what toys weren't good and what methods worked, right? And so you have insights. If you worked in a certain field, if you were an engineer, like I was a software engineer for a bit, okay? So I have certain insights in the industry that I can share, or as a teacher, right? And now as a specific teacher, I've taught English, I've taught math, I've taught health and PE, and I have sometimes over 54 kids at a time that I'm responsible for, and there's 250 kids in the gym, etc. And so learning how to manage and work with and help and support all of those kids, there's some insights on management, classroom management, and on discipline, and on routines, and on the actual structure of class. And then the content, like there's insights from there. And so what experience do you have? What experiences do you have that you could share knowledge on? So that's where the intelligence side is. It's this knowledge. That's an insight, is some type of information that you could share. Like I'm 30, almost 31. I can share my experiences from 18 and up, or even more. But I'm going to do that because I've learned a lot from my 20s, And so I want to share so I could help other people to be happier, healthier, and perform better. All right, next we have L. So the first is location. Okay, and then we also have luck. We'll combine these two. So location, and then we have luck. All right, so location. Where were you born? You might not even have thought of some of these things, like born in America. I was born in America. Okay, the opportunity, the freedom, the choices that are there. I was also born in Virginia, outside of the Washington, D.C. area. Okay, that's huge. Access to the nation's capital. Okay, who are your parents? You can't necessarily choose these things. You can't. But even having parents, like you got lucky to live in a certain location, or to have parents that maybe were more affluent or wealthy or knowledgeable, right? They have knowledge. Or what about genetics? You can't necessarily choose some of these things, okay? And location. Are you in the right place? Right place? Right time? Okay? Now, part of that can also be luck. Okay, Jesse Itzler, a lot of my mentors talk about that. Creating your own luck. Create it. And so that you can be at the right place at the right time, right? If I'm just on this big farm with pigs and whatever animals, not the best artist, but here's my farm. And I'm trying to have access to, if I have a private jet company like Jesse Itzler did, do you think in my rural town, I'm going to find customers that want to fly a jet or have the money for that? Probably not. No. So I would need to go to like a city, or I need to go somewhere where these customers would be. So you might be in the right location. Maybe you are in America. Maybe you are in a city. Maybe you are where you need to be. Maybe you are at a great company, right? Maybe you have a great company with great opportunities, etc. But if you don't, you can change that. You could create your own luck. You can move around. And so knowing these things can be really, really, really helpful. So think about it. What location would help you? Is your location helping you? How can you create your own luck? I'm going to do a whole video on luck specifically. Naval Ravikant talks about how to create your own luck and the types of luck, because people think you're just so lucky. And some people are, but it's because they create it. And a lot of these things you can create. Some things you already are. Maybe you have these advantages, but you can change them if you need to. Next, we have E for education and expertise. All right, so these are maybe more like your degrees. So do you have a certain degree? Even with the YouTube channel, I talked about it. There was someone who's the investment banker, Nisha. Okay? Or did you take all that time to become a doctor? Okay, do you have something? Or even there's fitness. A lot of people want help with their fitness, and there's so many fitness influencers, and a lot of them have the degree and the bachelor's of science and all this information that they can talk about, like with kinesiology and things, to help people get stronger or to lose the weight that they don't want to have anymore. And so what education and expertise, this is kind of like knowledge, your knowledge of something, but what do you have and how can you use it? With this, I want you to think like a business. So value, people pay for value. The world rewards value. And so if you can solve problems, if you can create solutions, if you can create speed, if you can create happiness, if you can create confidence, if you can create some of these things based on your education or based on the expertise, then that is going to be something that is valuable. We want to think, how can we provide value? How can we create value for people? Even your education on a certain topic is super valuable. Like, I know I'm having a few regrets now where I'm like, oh, I really wish I just would have been educated. I think education is the key. Or even I have something that I've solved, lots of things that I've solved that I'm like, dang, if I would have had the education on this sooner, I would have solved it faster. And so education can unlock so many doors that you might not even have known about, or help prevent mistakes, prevent things. And the key here is if you know the things, if you have that education expertise, you can help other people prevent those mistakes. Maybe you learn the lesson and then you share based on your knowledge to help prevent other people from making mistakes. Like, I'm not the biggest fan. Healthcare is needed, right? But if we can focus on prevention or education first, then it's going to lower the cost of healthcare and needing to go get that support. If we could just be educated and have healthier lifestyles, etc., it would be better. So what education do you have? What expertise do you have with maybe a job that you've had, experience, etc.? And last, but certainly not least, we also have status. So this is our S. Status. Okay, so if you're a business or a person, you can think about brand. You can think about hierarchy. Like, where are you in the lineup? Okay, I even used to play Foursquare all the time, and there's the king, the queen, then there's the joker, and then there's the peasant. Okay. And so where are you in terms of the hierarchy? Where's your status? So you can have status with many things. You can have it with your appearance, okay? Your beauty, your good looks, your attractiveness level. How do you look? You could also control some of this. So how do you present yourself? Okay, presentation, okay, right? A lot of the beauty industry is also enhancing already your beautiful features, etc. Maybe you have nice clothes, you put some nice clothes on, etc. Okay. Then your health, that's a great way for status, even showing your discipline, right? Or how you take care of your body. You're someone who takes care of yourself. Like, that can be attractive. That can show status if you're very healthy, fit, right? That's impressive. I'm very impressed by people who are able to be disciplined in the gym, show up and take care of their bodies and treat them as such. It could also be your status, what's your gender, what's your age. These things can matter, like if you're older or if you're a certain gender in a certain field, etc. Like, often, if you're young, you have a young status, this can sometimes be an advantage, and people can be super impressed, like, wow, he's only 18, or she's like 10 and she's a piano prodigy, or she's started this business, let's support her, right? So that can be a pro. Or, hey, I've had 50 years of experience in the business world. Here's like all my insights. Like, you saw those YouTube videos blow up, like Simon Squibb, right? For creating your dreams. It was like, here's all of my experience over the last 20 or 30 years. So he has that status because he's already built his brand. He's built his company. He's already done it. Okay. And so status can really help, even with Sarah Blakely, the female founder of Spanx. Sarah Blakely, one of my mentors and heroes. Okay. She started with $5,000. She had some money, like we talked about with money, but it wasn't even a ton. And then she's a female founder, so the gender. But then she built this billion-dollar company and she created the status. She didn't start out that way, but she eventually built it. And so now she has this status and she has the money and she has resources and she can help share them with other people. If you have a certain status, you can have influence. Like, if someone has a brand, or like Ali Abdallah I talked about, he has a brand, he has status, he has influence. And so people want to learn from him. People want to work with him. People are attracted to status. It's part of our evolutionary psychology and biology. We want to be around people who have a good appearance or presentation. We want to be around healthy people. It's good for the tribe. We want to be around people who have the money. We want to be around people who are wise and have experience and who have that status, because in our minds, it lifts us up. Okay, so status. Where do you have status? So I challenge you to ask yourself, where are your advantages? Okay? What are they? And what are you trying to accomplish? So what are you trying to accomplish? Figure that out first. Like if I'm doing the YouTube channel, okay? I decided it's YouTube. Okay, so what advantages would be helpful there, right? We talked about the money. We talked about maybe you already have an established business or experience in something and that, or knowledge. So that experience or that expertise or that knowledge or insights. And so you can explain and help other people. Or, right, like if you're an accountant or like going to be pretty wealthy and have $1 million in my 30s. So teaching about those experiences. And so finding what that is for you is essential and can help you so much. I'm so excited for you. Ultimately, you can achieve anything you want in your life. I talk about this on my channel. I talk about successful people. I talk about the mindset, the habits, dealing with your emotions, mastering all of those things along the way so that you can self-actualize, reach your full potential, and be who you want to be and who you're capable of being in this world. And it's really important to use all of these tools. You have advantages. You have advantages that maybe you didn't know about, and now hopefully you do. And so it's important to use them. Like Mr. Beast, he didn't really have an unfair advantage. He came from a poor mother and he just worked really hard and posted all these videos over and over and over again and would read the dictionary, and he would just like say words over and over and over again for hours at a time. And he just put in an insane amount of work. And now that isn't necessarily an unfair advantage. Most people can put in the work if they choose to. Like it's fair game, it's fair play. But these unfair advantages of either being a parent of 3 kids, that would take a while for someone who wasn't a parent of 3 kids to become that, or even to be a mom, or something that you experienced in your life, or if you do come from a more affluent family, or if you did get a certain degree, or if you have a certain life experience. Those are things to use and to share so that other people can learn from you and know that is an advantage. Know that is a skill. Know that is a superpower. You got to tap into it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope you found your unfair advantage. Feel free to check out this video on how I'm going to be a millionaire in my 30s as a teacher.